Get down. This video is going to be a review on a Rebirth for Mighty Boards and designed by Reiner Knizia. But while I'm eating this, why don't we go and have a look how this plays.
Rebirth, set in Scotland's future where the world is in ruins, but humanity has a chance to rebuild itself. You play one of the 4 clans of Scotland or Ireland, and your aim is to control territories, rebuild castles and cathedrals, and earn more points than the other players. To do this, you need to draw tokens from your own supply and place them in empty hexes. Certain tokens in clusters score points. The bigger the cluster, the more points. Owning castles are worth 5 points at the end of the game, along with endgame scoring cards you collect from cathedrals. These also score you points. Now over to setup. I do want to state this is a prototype copy. The components, the art, even possibly the rules will change by the time it gets to retail level. In a 2-player game, you actually use a colour not being played with, and you'll cover up all these marks because you see up here these marks on this square at the top. You place the tokens on there, which will then cover enough spaces as if someone else has played in those. So in a 2-player game, you'll use this setup, use all your tokens again. In a 4-player game, you take out the same tokens for everyone, 3 of these energy, 3 farms, a 2-house settlement, 3-house settlement, and a 4-house settlement. So 9 tokens will come out of each player in a 4-player game. Okay, so we're not playing 4-player, we're actually just set up for a 3-player game here. And what you'll also notice is that blue, red, and beige have mixed up all their tokens. And what each player is going to do is pick 2 random tokens from their pile. You get to look at them and notify which ones you got. You'll put them to the side. And so this is to stop people counting, like card counting your tokens. You know what is down, so it might give you an idea towards the end of what tokens you have left. Next, everyone will get to pick a tile, and they get to look at it. So everyone gets to pick a tile, and that is going to be for their first placement. So red is going to go first, I'm going to go first. So we have an energy. Energy can go down in any of these spots with the energy symbol on it. They can even go down into these empty spots, which can be energy or farms. In this case, I'm just going to place it down here. When you put down an energy or farm, you score the points of how many tokens are in that area of your own cluster together. In this case, I would only score 1 point. So I score 1 point because I've got 1 token down, and that's it. What also happens is you'll look around the area and we see we've got a castle here. So I actually immediately put a castle down because I'm the only person next to it. And there's also a cathedral. So I get to put a cathedral token down as well, which is great. Castles do nothing for you at this time. They score you 5 points at the end of the game if they're still there. When you put a cathedral down, you get to draw a card off of this pile, get to look at it, and they're all scoring cards. So in this case, I have to have the most ports than the other players. Ties also satisfy this condition. So it's worth 5 points. So you can see I place down here, I put all this down, that's my turnover. And you draw up another tile. Beige will go. Beige has a farm. Again, they can put it anywhere next to it. They could even put it next to that if they wanted to. Or they could go there and they can also put down their own castle. Now, blue has picked up a settlement house, and it's one of the best, bigger ones. So they can put that in any settlement area they want. They can go in this 3 side here, the 2 side, or even up here I mean, remember, we've got this whole map to go for, but I'm just zooming in to a certain area so you can see. So you could put it in Perth up here. If you put it in a single settlement area, you score how many pips, how many house symbols are on that. So in this case, blue will score 4 points for that. You can see over here in the right hand side is the scoring. This is the scoring for settlements, and because blue placed in a single settlement, they scored a number of pips, which was 4. So because they're placed in this location here, they score their points, and they also get to put down a castle and a cathedral, and they get to draw a card off the top of the deck. So they get to look at it and put it aside for in-game scoring. So here, red has pulled a single house settlement. Again, you can put this in any settlement. If I go up to here, I will score 1 point, but also I'll score a 2nd point because we got a port, and I need ports to score my thing. So I could put it there. It is worth 2 points at a time, so I could move that along and score 2 points at the top. It is next to a castle as well, so I get to put another castle out. Beige has pulled up a farm again. They can go and put it next to here. If they do decide to put it next to their first token, this time they will score 2 points. You can see it keeps building on. If they place again, 3 points. If they place there for some reason, it's just 1 point. If they're on another turn, they filled up there, they would score 3 points, of course, because they've completed a cluster. So it is dependent on how many of the same farms or the same person, and even energy, depends how many points you build up through the end of the game. Blue has pulled up one of the big tiles, so he's going to place it there. Nothing happens because it is an unfinished settlement. He's placed it here because he gets Edinburgh, Cathedral and Edinburgh. I'm going next, and I might try and get a shot of that action, and I'm going to place it up here. I placed it in this location because it's got the port symbol on it, so I immediately gain 1 point for placing it there. And because I'm next to the cathedral, I stack my cube on top and get another card for scoring later on to put beside me. That's me done. Still not complete, so still no one can. Then we come back around, and blue's picked up a 2 settlement. Now they could place it right here, and that will now score. You look at how many people have the majority of stickers or houses on there, and the person with the most scores the amount. So in a 3-sided one, blue will score 8 points, red will score 5 points. If we went for a little bit of a dilemma, let's say Dundee was being competed over. I had a 4 in there. Beige comes along and has a 4. Beige would actually be 2nd place because they are the active person. So red will score 5 points, beige will score 3 points. But we're not doing that. We're going to stick with that. Blue takes majority in Edinburgh, scores 8 points, and red scores 5 points. One last thing to look at is castles. Beige here controls this castle in the bottom here because they put their token here. Now, if I pull this nice farm out and I place it here, or here, or here, or up here, but I'm going to place it here, you count how many tokens are next to a castle. If it's equal, then the original controlling player keeps hold of it. But farms and energy trump settlement tokens. So in this case we are equal, but because I put a farm down, I trump the settlement. So that will come off and my castle will go back in. Beige could come back in with a lightning and place it there. And now, because they have more tokens than I do, their castle can go back in. And then if, for instance, again, I pull another farm out, again, we're equal. But because I've got 2 farms, it trumps it again. And my castle goes back in. So, players keep playing and keep putting out tiles until they get down to the last one, of course. And once the last tile goes down, you score all your castles on the board, 5 points each. You then go through your cards and see who has scored what on those. All of them are 5 points, except for these cathedral bonus cards, which are 3 points only, and they're automatically 3 points at the end of the game. So everything else is 5 points. You can see it's like castles being the majority around a castle, having the longest coastline route. It does become a bit of a cluster of a quick placement in the first few rounds to grab those cathedrals to get a bonus card, so you know what you're working for towards the end of the game. And the most you can have is 8. You have 8 cathedral tokens, and there is only 8 on the board. There's the rules. I do hope they're clear enough. It's quite a simple game to learn and play. And let's get back to final thoughts.
So there we have the rules explanation for Rebirth. As I said, I can't really comment on the components because all the components were a prototype and they are going to be vastly improved when the final version comes out. As I said, it's going to be the rewood components for the castles and the cathedrals. The tokens are going to be massively improved, a lot thicker and very much higher quality than you have seen in the video. So can't improve on that. I am looking forward to it. Also, the artwork's going to change on the board because it was quite busy and it is very difficult to see the cathedrals, but they've noticed that and they're improving that, which is great. So hopefully that touch up will improve the experience of the game. So how do I like the game? I like it. I actually come to realize I'm a very big fan of Reiner Knizia. One of his games that I really like is Through the Desert, and I think I bang on about it quite a lot. And this actually, Rebirth, gives me those feelings of Through the Desert. You've got a big map, you're placing something out, you're trying to help yourself get points, but also trying to scupper your opponents as well and get in their way and stop them scoring points. It's got that feeling about that interaction with the board, that kind of doing people over to improve yourself, or just stopping someone scoring those extra points, which might not actually benefit you, but I do love that thing, and it kind of creates that kind of bitterness in the game sense, not like, hopefully you don't come out of that in afterwards, and hopefully you'll all be friends again, because that's how it should be. But that's what the game creates, is that tension, that agency, and I think that's brilliant because it starts off a bit kind of freewheeling with like people just putting stuff out because they want to get some hot spots. They might have a 4-house settlement, so they might want to stick that down into a 1-place settlement, or they might want to just grab lots of cards from the cathedrals, and so they know what they're working towards. And that does take a lot, getting a lot of castles out, getting a lot of cathedrals out, and then once that kind of hump's got over, then it's that kind of placement, and then it starts slowing down a bit because people are thinking about it and they're looking over their board and their tactics and rethinking stuff each time something happens. And I think that's great, and it incites that kind of banter kind of thing and highlighting where someone might be getting other bits, but don't look over in my area because I want to score these points, or I want to keep my castle over here. So I think it's great. It definitely is a Reiner Knizia game. When I showed it with friends and I was playing with them, they instantly said, oh, this feels a bit Reiner Knizia kind of thing. And I said, it is. And they're like, oh, right, yeah, we can definitely tell. So definitely he's got a style about him when he makes this sort of game.
and I think it's brilliant for that. I really do like it. In that sense, I liked it at 4-player and I liked it at 3-player. We did play it 2-player, me and Claire. I don't know, maybe more plays, but I think the sweet spot is 3 and 4. Shame it doesn't go to 5. It would be difficult to insert a 5th player, I know that, and I'm not wishing that. But like Through the Desert has that 5th player aspect to it, so that does have its downside. It's got its limitations. So, but maybe they could think of something that does introduce a 5th player in the future. In the 2-player game, it felt a bit tic-tac-toe-ish kind of thing, because you're only watching each other, and it was kind of less agency to it. So, probably not a 2-player game. Probably opt to play something different if it was just me and someone else, me and Claire just playing, but 3 and 4-player is alright, it's great. Someone did say it's got that sense of kingdom builder, and I can see that. You just draw one tile up and you've got to work with that in your turn. Kind of like that, because it might not give you as many options as you want, or it just stops people like instantly grabbing. So like Through the Desert is like, as soon as someone sees something happening, they can just, I'm just going to do this, and that stops you from doing that. But if someone sees something happening, they can only do something about it if they draw on the right tile. So I think that's what it has for it, is that drawing of that tile and only having to work with that one tile on it. So I do like it. And I do like the cards that they bring along. Collecting these cards up do add a little bit of extra scoring and a little thing else to work towards, so it kind of gives you something to work towards. But then Through the Desert has introduced that in new modules that have been introduced into the game. So if I was going to pick up a negative part and not being too all over this at all, it'd be probably replayability. It's not one I could instantly say I would like to play every day, but then I can say that about Through the Desert and a lot of other games. It's a nice game to bring out. It plays so quickly once you know that it's almost beginning of the night, end of the night kind of game. Fill an hour before the shop closes, or fill an hour before, or start an hour before everyone else arrives. So it's got that aspect. It can be dead quick, and it should be like that. It shouldn't be like this heavy, burdening, brain thought thing. It is fun. It's nice. And the other thing I do like is the fact that even though it's not really that kind of theme in it, it's not set in the Middle Ages. It's set in the future, and it's just, that's it. And I don't know, I think it's just kind of dodging that kind of keep going back in time trope. Let's go forward, but it's not that kind of dystopian future. It's not that cyberpunk future. It's just in the future, restarting energy, restarting farms, building up those castles again and things like that. And it's simple, and I liked it. I really do like it, and that's why I'm still backing it on Kickstarter. Unfortunately, I think the Kickstarter will end by the time this video comes out, but hopefully there'll be some kind of late pledge that you'll be able to click onto. I put it in the description below, so you can click on that. And it just occurred to me there's also the island map too, that comes with Rebirth, which adds a couple of little changes to it. It won't play the same as Scotland. Instead of cathedrals, you've got towers already out in the map, and as soon as you place next to these towers, they will give you a one-off ability that happen. There is a communal scoring on the cards that are put out, and there is a chance of gaining your own endgame scoring card when you place next to one of these towers. There's also a 4-size settlement city, which it scores you big points if you can get in on that. To bear that in mind, there is 2 maps playing slightly differently to each other, so could be a lot of replayability to it. So I do look forward to Rebirth when it finally arrives from Kickstarter, or you can still wait. It will be out in retail, no doubt, like all of Mighty Board's other games. So yeah, I'd just like to thank Mighty Boards for lending me this prototype of Rebirth. I've had a lot of fun with it. People are excited for it, and so am I. So yeah, check it out. Hopefully there's a late pledge going on.
now, if you want to get in on the little extra goodies they're putting in with it, this will be a nice surprise when it arrives. Thank you for watching.